out the basics of buying properties on auction.com, which obviously is becoming very popular now. Us as Breia, we also specialize in short sales, and banks like NationStar, different banks are forcing the short sales to go onto the auction. So we thought this would be a topic. A lot of people have been sending in, a lot of you have been emailing us saying, hey, we want to know more about these auctions online. So without further ado, Chris Graeves.
Hi guys. Thank you. Okay, so it's 15 years ago, I'm 19 years old, and I'm sitting in this chair, literally. So not literally, but I'm sitting in a RIA in West Palm Beach, and it's the first time in my life where I realized that this business can be a full-time gig, where you can take real estate investing and you can turn it into something where you work for yourself. You're not working for somebody else. So fast forward 5 years from sitting in this chair, and I'm a multimillionaire. No joke. I mean, the market going up helped, but I had done hundreds of houses before I was 25 years old. So I'm 33 years old now, and I've bought over 1,000 houses. I haven't counted, and the majority of them recently have been at auction. And it's not just auction.com, although I've bought so many houses at auction.com that they're now promoting what we do and me and our methods, and they're taking us around the country and they're filming these topics that I want to teach you here today. And this is the first time I've ever presented any of these topics, so bear with me. But I've broken it down into 3 secrets, you can call it, or 3 principles of how to buy at auction. Okay? Real estate investing, if you want to do it well, you have to understand that auctions are the future. It's not just a wave of getting rid of foreclosures. With how strong these auction companies are right now, auctions are going to be here forever. That's what I believe. How many of you would like to be a billionaire?
I would.
Alright, well, I don't know how to do it. But I can teach you probably how to become a millionaire if you get really well at this. If you get really well at this. Before I learned these principles or secrets that I want to share with you, I probably, like most of you in this room, had a lot of negative experiences with auctions. You don't have to raise your hand, but I'm sure a lot of you have gone to an auction, attempted to buy a house at an auction, whether it be courthouse, auction.com, and I would assume most of you had a negative experience, because I did when I first started. Let me give you a little bit of background on what we're doing right now, so you can have some context, and you can see what's possible even. My main home base is in Palm Beach County. Broward County is even bigger if you're in Broward, so no excuses. I analyze and bid on between 300 and 400 houses a week in Palm Beach County. No joke. Just picture every auction source. I'll start listing them. The courthouse, the tax auction, HubZoo, HomeSearchAuction.com, Genesis, Hutch & Marshall. You just pick one. Just become good at one. I mean, I have lots of tips and tricks for each specific auction source that you guys can get to if you pick one. But one of my principles, as you'll see here, is to bid all the auctions. We probably place between 100 and 150 bids a week. We actually place the bids. We're analyzing 300 to 400, place 150. And with those numbers, consistently and statistically, I'm buying 1 to 2 houses a day. Just Palm Beach County, and now we're doing Martin County. I'm not in Broward, so you guys, no excuses. You can do the math on that. We target between $30,000 and $40,000 of profit for each house. That's just a very random, broad number. Really, it breaks down to between 25 and 30% return on dollar invested. Dollar invested is purchase plus renovation. You can move those numbers around depending on how quick you turn the house. Because the only thing that really matters for anybody that you're going to talk to is annualized return, not return on dollar invested. Anybody you're going to talk to, investors, lenders, yourself, if you want to understand properly when you can buy, when to not buy, is analyze it based on annualized return. If you can turn a house in 30 days, but the margin's 15%, how do you do that deal, right? Because annualized, that's 60, 70% annualized. Hopefully my math is right. Okay. My first time attempting to buy at the courthouse, I sat in a room where I watched what I could describe only as scam artists create fake entities, bid houses up right in front of me, back out, walk out of the room while their partner stole the house. It turned me off to auctions, period. For years, I stayed away from auctions just because of that one bad experience at the courthouse. Those days are gone, I can assure you. Right now, auctions are dominated by the person or the group of people that have the strongest value adds. If you don't understand what the term value add is, it's a situation where you can provide value. Okay, that's a very general term, I know, but let me try to break it down for you. If you have a pen, or if you're taking notes, or if you want to take notes, now's where I get into some actual useful things. And this comes from my experience of buying thousands of houses and getting it to the point where it can be systematized. Okay, 3 value adds. Develop, 3 basic principles. Develop your value add, discover your value add, develop a wide net, and determine to be consistent. Okay. The game of real estate investment is all about the value add. In real estate, it comes down to making money, especially in real estate investing. You know if you're doing a good job if you're creating equity or making money in the deal. Very simple. There are only 3 real value adds that I can think of that are important, okay, and this is one of the principles when it comes to buying at auction. Okay, specifically buying at auction, if you're going to focus on knowing more, paying more, or doing more, you can be successful at buying at auction. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power, and this is especially true when buying at auction. He who has the most details surrounding the item being auctioned and is most prepared to pay the number that he came in for, and still leave a good profit margin wins. Collecting the data before the auction is the most important. I'll list the data that describes most auctions, even auction.com. And at the end, I'll answer questions because every auction has different pieces of information that you'll want to collect. Understanding the true retail, okay, after repaired value and as is. You want to understand both because maybe you can flip it as is in 30 days, maybe you need to fix it up. So you need to understand and analyze both figures. Understanding the true renovation costs. If it's occupied, understanding how to get the tenant out, if they're leaving voluntarily, if they're going to fight, if there's any title problems, understanding and knowing how to fix the title problems, or if they're really title problems. I buy houses all the time where you think that there's a title problem, but there's not. It looks like there is, but there really isn't, just because I know more. And when I say know more, I mean, your first question should be know more than who, or know more than what. So I'm glad you asked. You really need to know more than your competitor, obviously, so that you can outsmart him. But what has helped me the most with buying as many houses as I have is knowing more than my partner, or my lender, or my investor, or whoever you want to call it, the guy with the money that's giving me these deals, because it's not, I started out with $0. So if I know more, if I'm the most knowledgeable person in the room when it comes to the specific deal that I just won, or before I even win at the auction, and I can prove that to the person with the money, I get to buy a house, and I get to win the house. Let me give you an example. And this happens on a constant basis. I'll give you the example of like one of the most wildly successful ones. I won a house about 6 months ago for just under $1 million at the courthouse auction. Not one person bid against me. And there's a group of pretty strong competitors in that price range, especially on a house like this one that was worth 1.5 without doing anything. Nobody bid against me. Not one bid. I won it for the minimum judge, $950. Had a buyer in 20 days for 1.5 cash. As is, nothing. And the only thing I can think to myself why nobody touched it is there was a big lien on it. There was a big, what looked like nasty lien that would stick with the house and cause a big problem if I bought it. But my knowledge and my experience told me that it wasn't going to be a problem, and it wasn't. And so we made $500,000 for clicking a button that day. And that's just I mean, this happens on a constant basis on much smaller houses, so that you can understand. And that's the majority of the bread and butter that we'll all be bidding on in this room. Anybody can click a button, obviously, and buy at auction. all the auctions are online now usually. It's the person who knows more that usually ends up winning. And that leads me to the second value add, paying more. This isn't really one of my favorites, but I've recognized a lot of successful people that basically make it their expertise just to pay a little bit more than the next guy. Most auctions come down to the last $100. I lose and win houses all the time by $100, almost every day. And so, what is it that makes that other person willing to bid just a few $100 more, a few $1,000 more? What is it that separates the high bidder from the runner-up? Nothing except being willing to just buy at a little bit tighter margin. If you can hone your skills, if you can move the house quicker, if you can get the house done cheaper, if you can provide all these other value adds that go along with paying more, you can make the same annualized margin, the same return on dollar invested, or more than anyone else, than me. And you can pay a little bit more for a house and make more money faster than me if you can do one little thing better than me along the way in the process. Third principle, wrap it up, doing more. Generally, this applies to houses that most people are scared from. They need a ton of work. They have big, hideous, ugly problems that are going to take lots of time and effort. Laziness is what kicks most people's butts. Doing more and preparing to do more, just being confident knowing that you can take on a massive renovation and make money, it's just going to take you a lot of time and effort, even learning, understanding, knowledge to get there, is the third principle. I call it secret, or I just call it a principle, if you want to be successful at buying auction. I apply this one every day. I buy more houses from people who anybody could have bought it. It was right there in front of you. It's destroyed, disgusting, needs electrical, needs roof, needs everything. And I bought it just because I'm willing to work hard, willing to work more at getting that house done faster and do more work. Develop a wide net is a principle that will take you a really far way, especially, and this is what I'm going to teach on auction.com when I go to California, developing a wide net, because auction.com has a limited number of houses every week. But if you're able to develop an understanding of more markets than you're in now, and I'm doing this, I'm moving to Martin, I'm going to move to Orlando next, I'm going to move to Lee County next, and just set up systems that allow you to be there on a constant basis every day, buying at the auction at the numbers. You know, just show up every day and buy at the numbers, and continue to widen your net of the inventory that you're putting in front of you. You can also widen your net by doing more auction sources. I mean, I listed a bunch of them, but you can keep adding auction sources to your tool belt. Each auction source has its own nuances, has its own tricks. Auction.com definitely has its own tricks, and again, we can go into that in a minute if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, I have a question about the tricks.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are we competing against the auctioneer?
On which source?
When you're running up the numbers.
On which auction source?
On the auction.com?
Yeah. And they'll actually disclose that to you on the front page. They don't want to get sued. Yeah, and there are
How often?
every time.
Every time. Oh,
Yeah,
that's good.
and there are sources of auctions like Hubzu, which I'm sure everybody's familiar with, where you're not being run up. Genesis, Hudson Marshall, they're not running you up. And what happens there is you completely waste your time. I can't tell you how many houses I win on Hubzu or Hudson Marshall where I send in an escrow, I get all excited, I sign 52 pages, and then they say, oh, I'm sorry, you bid half of what the bank wanted. You waste my time. So, yeah, I actually appreciate that auction.com bids me up. I mean, you could look at it negative or positive. If you're only bidding on one house, of course you're going to look at it negative. Oh, I can't believe those guys. Widen your net, get on 100 houses, you know? It'll help you pay attention, be willing to bid on 100 houses. What happens is, 5 minutes before the auction, you'll see all of them are past your number except one. Hey, that's the one you're going to buy today, right? So
the chances are good that I'll get the property if I was bidding against the house.
Oh yeah, almost 100%.
Because I'm going to stop, you guys are going to keep going,
Yeah,
and then you'll come back to me.
Yeah. If you win